Hello, my name is Phil. Welcome to part 3 of York City Church's retelling of the extraordinary story of Jesus. Whether you would call yourself a Christian or not, come with us now as the shocking events of the first Holy Week unfold.
As he taught, he said, "Beware of the scribes, who like to walk around in long robes and be greeted with respect in the marketplaces, and to have the best seats in the synagogues and places of honour at the banquets. They devour widows' houses, and for the sake of appearance say long prayers. They will receive the greater condemnation." He sat down opposite the treasury and watched the crowd putting money into the treasury. Many rich people put in large sums. A poor widow came and put in 2 small copper coins, which are worth a penny. Then he called his disciples and said to them, "Truly I tell you, this poor widow has put in more than all those who are contributing to the treasury. For all of them have contributed out of their abundance, but she, out of her poverty, has put in everything she had, all she had to live on."
One of the things I find most exciting about Mark's Gospel is that the experts think it was probably written within 20 to 40 years of the actual events we're exploring this Holy Week. I have very clear and vivid memories of things that happened in my life 20 to 40 years ago. I can remember being baptised as a teenager on May the 18th, 1980. It was the day Mount St. Helens blew up. When we read or hear the Gospels, we're brought as close to the historic events of Holy Week as the first hearers. We get to meet Jesus walking off the page, just as the Bible writers wanted us to meet him. And it's almost as if 2,000 years of history and tradition have been erased. Mark writes a lot about the dangers of religious tradition. The big shock is that it's possible to be very religious and yet not know Jesus. In the section we've just heard, Jesus takes on the religious establishment, and it doesn't end well. I grew up with plenty of religion. I've been to church pretty much every Sunday since I was born. My dad was a church minister. I married the daughter of a church minister. We met in a church minister's home at university. I'm also into church music and used to play the church organ, a proper one with pipes and pedals. One summer, I was playing the organ for a church conference in our university town, and then something unexpected happened that would haunt me for years. I was just waiting in line to talk to the main speaker about his choice of hymns, but I couldn't help noticing that he couldn't say the words, "the Lord Jesus," without smiling. I haven't a clue what he spoke about during the conference or what hymns he chose. But I knew I didn't know Jesus like that and that I really wanted to. Well, nothing happened for about 10 years. Then I started reading the Gospels more carefully and with friends. What I found most compelling about this story in Mark is that Jesus has an eye for the little people. So often, religion seems to boil down to power, prestige, and money. Earlier in Mark, Jesus has told his disciples that if they want to follow him, they must give it all up, pick up their cross, and follow him. Unsurprisingly, the disciples really struggle with this all through Mark. It's not the religion they grew up with. They're impressed by stuff, the buildings, the thrones, the clothes, the long prayers, the power, the money, the respect. But here we get to see what Jesus makes of all that. Their religion isn't just a distraction, it has become toxic, corrupt, even predatory. The religious leaders were supposed to care about the poor and the marginalized. Yet Jesus accuses them of robbing widows. And then suddenly there she is, The religious elite dismiss her as worthless even as they take her last 2 pennies. But Jesus sees something different. She looks to him like a prototype disciple. She believes in something bigger. Yes, they are fleecing her. No, she shouldn't have to. But she doesn't see it on those terms. For her, it's all about devotion to God. And heaven sees. The religious elite might be ashamed of her, but Jesus is not. And they hate him for it. So much so that within a week they will have had him killed. And yet, with all that going on, he still has time for her. This is the real Lord Jesus. Do you know him? Do you want to?